Alright guys, how's it going? We are going to do two budget builds today. We're going to do both of them will be the new AMD Athlon 5350. They are an AM1 processor, 2.5 gigahertz, 2 meg cache. It is a quad core, but it's only 25 watts. The TDP is only 25 watts. So we're going to do one with an Asus MATX board, and we're going to do another one with a ASRock ITX board. Some of the things we'll also be including is a SATA DVD-RW. We're going to use the same case that I'm using for my FX 6300 is the Diablo-Tech Diamond case. It comes with a 400 watt power supply. For this build, it's going to be perfect. I'm actually building this for a relative that needs a very budget basic PC, just to do some music and pretty much surfing the web and email. So this worked out good. That was 30 bucks. Buying the processor, you get the motherboard actually free through a local retailer store. So this whole setup right here, one stick of I know it says 8 gigs right there, but one stick I'm using for that one of the 4 gig and one 4 gig for here. So AMD Athlon 5350, ASRock motherboard MATX. We're reusing this 500 gig Western Digital Blue drive, so we'll take that out of the picture. But for the case, the refurbished drive, processor, motherboard, one stick of 4 gig DDR RAM, and the Wi-Fi card, this whole setup came out to 108 bucks. So this build over here, this ITX build, I'm actually going to be building this in an old Dell Dimension MATX case. So this ITX board is going to go in an ATX case. This build will be so inexpensive and cheap, and it's just going to be a media center PC. So this is going to be really cool. I'm excited to build that one tonight too, because when I replace my video card in my other rig right now, that 6850 is actually going to go onto this board. So essentially I can stream Steam games right to the Media Center PC, plus have the ability to stream my movies and stuff, everything off my NAS. Alright, so this is the Diablo-Tech Diamond MATX case. I like it a lot. I've used it for my current FX 6300 build. There's a lot of room on it. It's nice and open. I've kind of staged this. I pulled off the front cover, which just slides right off. You got two 5.5s in the top, and you got one 3.5. The front of it is kind of open right here along the sides. That's kind of open there. So you will get some airflow in, but it's not mesh like it looks like on the front. On the front of the case, you have your power, two USB 2.0s, your audio in, out, mic and headphones, and then you've got your reset button and a hard drive LED right there. This does illuminate blue, the power button. As far as hard drive management, you do have your 3.5-inch drive that you can slide up here if you need a big one. You can put a 3.5-inch drive on the bottom as long as you don't have anything running on the bottom of the motherboard. And then you have spots here and here, and there's little clips right here, a little tray slide, so you can slide in an SSD or a 2.5-inch drive. One there on the back side. So you can do 1, 2, 3. You can actually do 4 hard drives in there. So it's nice and open. You can actually hide away. This is SSD, but you can pretty much do any 2.5-inch drive, whether it's SSD or a hard drive. On the side panel, right here, you have the ability to do 120, 92, and 80 millimeter fans, so 2 of them. There's no screens on them. If you want to put a screen on, you can do a screen on the outside. I actually have 2 Silverstones I'm going to put on my case on the outside, or you can put the screen on the inside. So it's really nice. It's a very, very lightweight case. And again, you've got some Molex connectors. You got some SATA connectors on here. You have your 4+4 for a your power for your computer, and then there is it's on here somewhere. Oh, for PCIe, that's right. You have to take and use a Molex to to PCIe connector. That's what you have to do. And now I remember. I'm not using this power supply. I put this power supply in an old computer, and I put a different one in the computer I'm using right now. But I remember I ran into that problem. I was wondering why I had a 8-pin power supply and had no 4-pin for the CPU power, but I wasn't paying attention. So this is actually 4+4. They come apart there. It's an AM1 motherboard. So this is the model number AM1 Asus motherboard. It's an MATX board. It's got all solid capacitors on it. So inside the box, you've got your manual, a driver CD, your rear I/O shield. Comes with only 2 SATA adapters, and both of them actually have push clips on, which is nice. And there's only 2 natively. The AM1 processor only can support up to 2 SATA ports. So this is 2 SATA 6G ports on here, and there's 2 cables here for it. So a quick little overview or look at the motherboard itself. So your I/O side here, you've got 2 USB 2.0s. You've got a USB for keyboard or mouse. Your HDMI, DVI-D, D-sub or VGA. You've got actually 2 USB 3.0s, another 2 USB 2.0s. On top of that is a gigabit LAN, and then your this says it has an 8-channel digital audio. So you're in, your mic, you're out, and then your line in right there. Going from the top, we have a 4-pin CPU power. You've got your 2 DDR3 1600 megahertz RAM slots, your 24-pin power connector. We have a USB 3, a 4-pin PWM. This is for the CPU fan. You've got a PCIe 2.0. I believe it's 2.0 times 16 PCIe slot, and then 2 of the PCIe 1X slots. Even though this is a 16, it's only pinned up to 4. So whatever you're running off of here is only going to be at 4X, not 16X. On the bottom here, you have a old school LPT, some COM ports, 2 more USB headers, and this is your for your LEDs, your hard drive light, and stuff like that. Your speaker goes there, CMOS battery, and there's your jumper to reset it. So the board itself is nice and small. It could be a great little AM1 build, and that's it for the Asus AM1 motherboard. Alright, so here it is. We just installed the AMD Athlon 5350 AM1 processor onto the motherboard, and then it has 2 clips right here. These are actually push pins that hold this small little fan on. It is only a 3-pin, even though there's a 4-pin header here. And that's this chassis fan, and I believe, oh, CPU fans up at the top. So we will reroute this guy real quick up here to the top. Here we go. And I will zip tie that together. But okay, so this one, the chassis fan's down here and the CPU fan's up there. I could have spun this the other way and wrapped this around that a little bit better, but it's good for now. So we just did that, and the next step is to add our one stick of RAM. Alright, so we just added our stick of RAM. We're using a Radeon R5 DDR 1600 PC3 12800 RAM. Now this is Entertainment Series. The CAS latency is actually 11 versus our normal 9. So only run 4 gigs on that, and so she's pretty much built right now. We are going to put her inside the tower, and then we'll be right back. Okay, so I had lined up the motherboard inside the case. We're going to use the 4 outer edge risers, and after that we're going to install the I/O shield. Alright, so the motherboard's in. We used the 4 outer risers to mount this. There's not going to be any real pressure on the center. We're not going to be running any external video card because the APU actually has a CPU and GPU built in. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to plug in, this does have room for a 4-pin for the motherboard for the CPU. However, we'll connect it anyways, even though that this 25 watt, everything, all the power will come off of that 24 port motherboard power connector. So we'll go ahead and connect those and then be right back. Okay, so we plugged in our 24 pin and our 4 pin. We still have the extra 4 pin that we will zip tie out of the way here. Installed the SATA connector to the top of the DVD-RW. Plugged it in here because it did come with a 90 degree, which is nice. And then this one is a straight SATA connector, which we're going to run and actually put the hard drive on the bottom, since we're using a 5 1/4 versus a 2.5 inch drive. So we're not going to be able to put them here. So the 5 1/4 is actually going to sit right here on the bottom. We could mount it up here, however, you know, it would stick out too far and stick in this way too far. So we're actually just going to put it on the bottom. Okay, so we got the motherboard in. We've got the 500 gig Western Digital Blue drive installed, and we've done a little bit of cable management. I've got to slide this in and tighten that down, but basically we did as best cable management as we can because everything's open here. So I just want airflow. It's not the prettiest here in the world, but instead of just having everything just jumbled up on top of this small little CPU, everything's running straight up, and we zip tied it a couple areas up and down here on this side panel. So everything is plugged in, and we'll put the front panel on. I've already knocked out the little punch up there for the optical drive. We're going to plug in the front USB and audio, and we're going to plug in the power LED and reset lights right here to the motherboard, and then we will set her up and get another quick look over of it. Alright, here she is. She is together. Try to bring another light in here so everyone can see. So hard drive's on the bottom. Cable management is as good as you can get with this kind of case. At least there is airflow straight through the case. I/O shield on the back. We still have plenty of expansion in here if we want to add a video card later down the road, add a Wi-Fi card, add an extra USB card, whatever you would want to put in there you can. We can still add another 4 gigs of RAM if for some reason that we do tend to bog down and we need to add extra RAM, we still can do that. And then on the front of the case here, it's nice, plain, simple. This is not mesh. There's air intake right here. Diablotech claims that you can put 2 120mm fans in the front. However, I've never really looked into it. But there she is. We're going to boot her up here in just a second. Alright, here's the moment of truth. We've got everything hooked up. This is exactly how it's going to be hooked up at my relative's house. So it besides this wireless keyboard, she has her own. And there's a Wi-Fi dongle that will be in the front of the computer. So this is how it will be hooked up. I'm, cross my fingers, everything comes on. And it doesn't. Do we have the power on? No. Alright, so we got the power LED right there, and she is booting up. We got power. There we go. Delete under setup. CPU installed. F1 to run setup. Wow, awesome. We are in, we are working. The time is actually, wow, 5 minutes off. But there it is. She's up and running. Wow, this is a really awesome little build. I can't wait to get in this thing and start messing around with it. I will post another video of maybe some benchmarking. I don't know how long I'll have this computer before I give it to my relative, but I'm going to do some benchmarking and play around a little bit with this guy and see if you can actually use the mouse in here. This is really cool. This is the Asus UEFI BIOS Easy Mode utility, which is really cool. But cool, there it is. Thanks for watching.